Hello and welcome back to the Simple Kai Guy channel. Today I got an interesting scanner that can show live data, troubleshoot ABS systems, check your battery, and more. This enhanced code reader works on domestic and Asian vehicles that support OBD2 protocol. I'm excited to see what all of these buttons are about and what can it actually do. So this scanner came in a very simple white box. Not really a lot of text, just the name, Innova, I'm not really sure, 6030p. All right, cool. It had a little bit of a startup guide. So quick startup guide. It just tells you that you can go on your app on your phone, connect it, set it up, I guess. We'll see if that's necessary or not. I'd prefer not to do it if I don't have to, but if necessary, I'll do it and I'll show you how it's done. Okay, so it says if it's not connected to Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, vehicle data may not be saved, which I'm fine with unless I'm working in a shop. I don't really need my data to be shared with anybody anyway. And you can get a full manual right there. All right, cool. So we just got one of these plastic thingies that it comes in. We're gonna take that off. All right, so let's take a quick look at the scanner itself before we plug it into a car. Nothing fancy, no rubberized rubberized coating or anything, just hard plastic, but not too bad. Let's see how long the cord is. So the cord's about, I would say, like 2.5 feet or so. Not the longest, but also good for storage. So if you put it in your glove box compartment, it's not going to take a lot of space. The screen is good size. We'll see how nice it looks once it's turned on. What I am interested in is all of these LEDs right here, and you have a bunch of buttons on the left and on the right. You know, obviously the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth that I mentioned in the manual. Very interesting. I've never really seen one like this. Usually they just have like a couple buttons, that's it. This one has a lot of shortcuts. I want to see how well they work, and you will know as well. So let's go plug this into an Asian or domestic car and see how well it works. All right, so I'm in a Hyundai Kona now, and I just plugged it in. As you can see, it takes you straight to this menu right here, which shows you the IM monitor status. So that's telling you if the car will pass emissions or not. So that's pretty cool. Also tells you right away if there's any powertrain codes or anything like that, or any other issues. I like that. Very quick to scan the car and tell you if there's any issues on the first try. All right, so what else can we do in here, right? So we have, of course, the erase and the system status and the DT codes, so DTCs, freeze frame, link, menu, and live data. So what we're going to do is go to the menu first and see what we can find in there. So I'm going to hit menu, and this is the main menu of the device. We have system test, vehicle information, battery alternator test, drive cycle procedures, service requests, firmware version, tool library, and tool settings, okay? All right, so let's start with system test and see what we can find in there. Just a system test, we have OBD monitor test, so let's see what that does for us. All right, so it's gonna scan the car, and it's basically showing us different items that we can monitor on the car. So this will definitely depend on the car and whether it supports it or not. So as an example, in this one, let's take a look at fuel system monitor bank, and you have all of your information coming here. It's not super intuitive if you don't know what you're looking at right away, but as you can see, you have the minimum and maximum values that would be appropriate for this device, and then we have the test value. So obviously the 0.9999 is between 0.0 or 0.87 and 1.1, right? So we are within correct limits. All right, so that was OBD monitor test. We also have EVAP test. So let's see if this car supports it. I don't believe it does. Yeah, this one's not supported on this car, but we also have the IM monitor test. So this is kind of the same stuff that we had pop up when we first plugged it in, but this one allows you to choose between DTCs, or since the DTCs have been cleared, so since the codes have been cleared, or this drive cycle. So we'll just do the first one, and you have 8 different components that have been scanned, and you can clearly see that all of them have passed, at least on this car. So misfire monitor, fuel system monitor, all of these things, if you scroll down, they're all passed. So this car is good to go. All right, let's go back, and then that's all for system test. We also have battery and alternator test. So this is kind of cool, and I will show that in just a little bit once we're done with the other items here on the menu. What else do we have here? We have service reset. If we go to service reset, we can reset the oil on this car. So not a lot of service resets clearly, only the oil reset, but definitely helpful. So we're going to go back, firmware version. So this is just the firmware version of the device. Not very interesting to me. Tool library, what do we got in here? We got icon meaning. So this will just show you what different icons mean, right? So when it pops up at the top and you just see this, what does that mean? Well, that's misfire, that's catalytic converter, that's heated catalytic converter, oxygen sensor, things like that. So good to know if it doesn't, if you're not 100% clear right away. But if you go back here to DTC library, we can actually look up different codes. So if you get a code, you can look those up and see what they mean. As an example, if we go to BMW and then we put even this one, so it'd be fuel volume regulator control. So it has a library of all the codes and what they mean inside the device. Very useful if you don't have your phone on you or something like that. All right, what else is in the main menu? We have tool settings. If you go to tool settings, all the regular stuff, you can adjust brightness, tone, so it's like a beeper, messages, so like little hints. Language selection, this might be interesting. So only English, Spanish, and French, but hey, it's there. Units of measure, standard or metric. And that's about it. So we're going to go back and then we'll go to the battery alternator test. Battery test, let's do that one. So it's telling you all the prerequisites that you have to do in the car in order for it to work properly. Vehicle can't be moving, parked and all that stuff. So I'm going to click yes, that's fine. Now it's asking me to turn off the engine. So I'm going to do that. Engine is off. Turn on the headlights. Okay. Actually, headlights were on. Yeah, there you go. Headlights are on. Okay, continue. And now we just gotta wait 20 seconds. I'm not really sure if this is the best way to test your battery. It will definitely show you if your battery is really, really bad. Because if your battery drops a lot of voltage in 20 seconds of the headlights being on with the engine off, you definitely have a problem. But I can't say that this is a very definitive test, at least, not in my opinion. Of course, I'm not an expert, but all right, start the engine. All right, so it says battery status good. Like I said, not 100% sure how just that test would determine the properties of the battery, but there you have it. We also have the alternator test, so we're going to do that one. Press enter. So that says engine has to be running and at normal temperatures, which it is. Now we're going to raise the RPMs to 2000, so I'm going to do that. Okay, so now it's determining if it was all good. And it looks like it was within specifications. All right. That's it for the main menu items. So now let's go through some of the stuff over here that we have. We have the DT codes. So let's see, press that button, see what it takes. That basically takes us to what it was when we first started the device. No codes available. System status. This is where the interesting stuff happens and why you're paying extra, right? Because otherwise this is mostly like a standard OBD2 device. Here you have your ABS items, but let's check the global OBD2 first. So we're going to scan it, and it's going to obviously connect to the car and scan everything else. Takes us back to the same part that we were at when we clicked on this button. So that tells you this is just a shortcut, right? We're going to go back to system status and go to ABS. This scanner supports all Asian and domestic cars. So that's important. If you have a BMW, it will not scan your ABS system. So make sure you've got the proper car. This car is obviously all good, so we don't have any ABS issues on here. To be clear, most scanners that are $40, $30, $50 will not scan ABS systems. So it's important to understand that this additional functionality is what you're paying for. So if you need ABS, this is it. You're not paying overly extra for all of the other functionality that you will never use. So I definitely like that. And here we have the erase button that would erase any of the codes if we had them. Of course, we don't have any, so I'm just going to hit no. I don't need to erase them for no reason. Now, what else do we have in here? We have live data, so I'm going to click that, and we're going to get all of the PIDs that are available on this vehicle. So there's 39 different ones. And what you can do here is basically look at the live data of each of those sensors. So as an example, we have the short-term fuel trims, long-term fuel trims, the map service sensor, engine RPM. So there you go. All of that changes as I'm revving up the engine. And of course you can, if you press LD button again, you can do custom live data where you can select just a couple of them instead of, you know, so many other ones. So if you go like that, now we only have the items that we have selected, so it's not as cluttered and you can just see the things that you need to see. So what are the pros and cons of this scanner? Well, pros, it's not very expensive and it can do ABS, which is a pretty high-end feature on a lot of the scanners. Usually you have to pay at least $150 to get those features on the car. What else? Well, I like that it has the code severity alert, which it tells you whether there's a big issue in the car or not. So when you plug it in right away, it tells you if everything's green, you know it's good. If it's not green, it's not good. Same thing here. It's going to go from green to yellow or red. Green means you're all good. Yellow means you can still drive. Red, you're no good. Don't drive your car. There's, you know, bigger issues that something needs to be fixed right away. What are the cons? Well, you know, this is specific to ABS troubleshooting. So if you have issues with a specific module, like, I don't know, let's say a transmission module, this will only be able to get you the live data from the standard OBD functions, nothing from like specific module. But usually that kind of functionality is only reserved for scanners that are well over $200-300. On that note, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you'd like to purchase one, I'll have a link down in the comment. If you liked the video, hit that like button, and I'll see you on the next one.